everyone. Today we have a very, very nice speaker with us today, Stella Achenbach. She's a digital creator, the founder of the ALANA project, and the lead steward at Unlock Protocol DAO. So, Stella, welcome to Role Model Rebels.
Thank you so much for having me, Anupa.
And I'm very excited to have this conversation from fashion to technology. So let's get started. So, should we start with who Stella is? Would you like to share a little bit about yourself, your values, beliefs, your daily habits? So we know how Stella is.
Sure, no problem. Hi, everyone. So my name is Stella. I'm a fashion designer by trade. So this is where I started my journey and eventually slid into the Web3 space through digital fashion. And this gave me a chance to learn more about blockchain technology and how we potentially could eventually govern ourselves through blockchain technology. I'm a huge fan of decentralized governance and all the values that come with that. So yeah, this has been like a driving force to me, and eventually I decided to dedicate I want to say my everything that I learned with design into like the design of systems. So this is what I'm now doing here as a lead steward and also as the founder of the ALANA project.
Very exciting. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about what decentralization is later on to, inform some of our community members who might not know. So let's start with Alana, because that seems like your driving passion from, because fashion is such a significant story in your life. Um, you know, how did it lead you to this? And, what is the mission for you to create a future with Alana?
Yes, sure. So I think this was like back in 2018 when I joined the digital fashion community. Someone had reached out to me on Instagram and said like, hey, your work looks really nice. You want to come to our community call? First, I thought, I don't know, that sounds strange, right? Like if you're not
What is a
used to it,
community call?
right, coming from fashion, you're like, community, what? So I was a little bit confused, but then, I was also in a very transitionary phase. So it's like, why not? What can happen, right? So I joined the community call, and very soon I started to love that environment. Everyone was like collaborating with each other, finding like new innovative ideas to express themselves through digital fashion projects, and going even further than digital fashion, like going more into like 3D environment design. So I had just a lot of fun being in that community, and eventually I want to say the leader of that project said, hey, we're trying to create something that's called realms. It's like little sub brands under this like main project. And
Okay.
so I was like, interesting. What could that look like for me, right? And I have been working, like I had created this virtual avatar that people started to reach out to me for and wanted to dress in their digital fashion projects. And I was the one like rendering it. So we had like kind of a huge like New York digital fashion show with Alana, this virtual character, being like on all of these screens, and it looked really, really nice. And so I was like, man, this could really work. Like, why don't I turn this into a project and people can just come in and freely dress Alana, right? Like along some rules, of course, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, this like initial idea became so popular in that community that I figured maybe I can do even better. Maybe Alana can turn into something that is beyond fashion, right? And maybe Alana could teach people the stuff that I've started to find so fascinating about blockchain technology. And so bit by bit, the little like boxes like moved together into like one wholesome picture. And I was like, nice. And then more people wanted to join me to build out Alana. And at first I was confused. I was like, why would you want to do that? And then, they were like, Alana has great values. Like, we want to be part of this. And I was like, I don't know. I felt so humbled at this point because I never felt that kind of like collaborative sentiment in fashion when I was working in a fashion industry. So yeah, this is kind of like the little letter to how Alana turned into a project. Because first it was just, me designing a virtual avatar and dressing it up. But here we are now.
Fantastic. I think that's what fashion does, is that it has the ability to change with time, with people, with identity, and I think with the fit. So maybe we can explore a few conversations is what is Alana project? Where does it stand? How does technology fit into it? What is the vision of Alana? And then eventually, you can talk about how did you build this community and what kind of people are there in the Alana project?
Yeah, sure. That sounds good. So the Alana project, like I call it a creative educational project. So most of the people who join are creators or builders. Builders for us are people who come from a creative background, but started to develop, I want to say, a larger interest into the part of technology. So people who came maybe from 3D fashion, now working in
Yeah.
Blender, moving on to game engines and so on, right? We also have developers, but I would say this is like the smaller part of people
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
Alana
yeah,
project.
yeah, yeah,
And so, yeah, we essentially provide free resources about blockchain education in general, right? So we have like an article series, for example, that explains blockchain technology along metaphors that, normal people understand, not
yeah.
super tech savvy blockchain people, right?
Okay.
Because the cool thing about the blockchain space that's sadly spoken of too less is it really can empower creators, right? If they know what they're doing, if they know how to use these tools, they can use them to their advantage to protect their work, right? And not have to rely constantly on bigger flat platforms to present their work and to display their work. So it's kind of
Definitely.
something,
Yeah,
yeah, that's,
definitely. I think that's so important because today that the fact that we're all working with technology, we cannot negate or disassociate us with technology because it's the core, it's the basis. So even as a designer or a strategist, you will have to blend in and do what you're doing as a transferable skill to carry on, and that education is very important. So I'm glad you're doing that with Alana.
yeah. And the other part is we do obviously creative education, right? So I have I'm a German citizen by nature. So, one of the values that I would defend with my life is open and freely accessible education. I think these are the roots of a true democracy, so to speak. So having informed citizens is like always, at the core of these things to work. And, Alana wants to provide that, right? I hope we can do even more and even better and even greater than we're doing now. But like we have these resources, we put out bi-weekly newsletter with education. We put out these like metaphoric article series. We have free webinars. Next one actually coming up next week on the essentials of ComfyUI. ComfyUI is so it's no advertisement, I swear.
No,
It's an
please
open
tell us.
source
We want to know.
it's an open source technology that you can use to render AI graphics and imagery directly on your computer. So again, it puts you in power as the creator. You don't have to share the things that you're rendering with a platform and potentially risk, like that these
Yeah,
things are
yeah,
taken
yeah,
from you.
yeah, yeah.
So it puts the creator again in control. That is essentially at the core of the Alana project with whatever we are teaching, be it creative stuff or be it blockchain centric things. And since we're also developing products in Alana, so we have essentially a product layer, people naturally start like sliding into using these tools, right? So one of the biggest, I want to say, hurdles when it comes to Web3 seems to be still the wallet. The wallet just throws people off, right? And so we give people, by being part of the community, we give people an opportunity to keep using these tools over and over again, to cast a vote, right? To get a free attendance badge, like all of these things. So the more people start using these tools, the more it becomes a norm. When something becomes a norm, it stops feeling difficult, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's also that side to the project. Yes.
And I think so, what inspired you as a founder to find these specific groups of people to build them. Like I know you wanted to, create, a larger scope of, inclusivity and, collaboration. But where do you really see this going as a project?
Yeah, so sure. So first of all, we had a conversation, I want to say, at the beginning of last year. We have 3 organizational branches in ALANA, and we have 4 product branches. 3 of them currently being active, 1 is not active. And in the organizational branches, we started to have a discussion about just that, right? Like, how do we ensure that the people who join us are actually value aligned, right? So they might think like something is beautiful, then they join, but then maybe they don't think our values are cool and they leave again, right? So we wanted to make sure people know what they agree to, basically. And it's nothing, it's nothing strange, nothing weird. It's literally
Almost like your manifesto.
exactly. So we minted this, unlike protocol powered manifesto, and we aligned it with something that I learned in design history, which is the 10 principles of good design from Dieter Rams. Dieter
Yeah.
Rams used to be a famous product designer in the 70s, 80s, right? And he had this incredible idea of these 10 principles that just until now, they're absolutely valid, right? Don't design something that's useless, right? Design something by choosing good materials. So it is long lasting. So it's nothing too surprising. And the same counts for Alana's 10 principles of a good community. It's nothing surprising in there. But if you have it like, let's say, black and white, right? It is out there and it can be seen and a pen can be agreed on or disagreed with, right? So
Yes.
if you're for inclusivity, great, join us. If you're against it, then please don't join us, no matter if you like ALANA or not, right? It's like very simple, really.
Yeah. And it's very important to have, like, let's say, strict mandates for communities, because that alignment is important, because at the end of the day, you as a community want to go, you want the members to go, same as what we aspire at Role Model Rebels, that we believe in the empowering voices of women across globally, where whoever has a powerful story to tell. So and we would like that people adhere to empathy, inclusivity, and the other value systems and principles. So yeah, that's amazing. Have you faced any sort of challenges or obstacles while doing this?
All the time, all the time. There's like I could make a list for every year that I've been doing this, right? Like in the beginning, the biggest struggle we had is this transitioning from an original founder and doing this by themselves to like, how can you open this to a community, right? Because this is also where the 10 principles came in play, because we started to want to try to solve this problem. Like, having talented people is one thing, but if those talented people are non-inclusive or, kind of tend to maybe bully others, then it becomes a problem, right? It's no matter how talented
Yeah,
they are not a great fit for that type of environment.
yeah,
So challenges just keep rising as you keep growing and as you keep developing the project out further. It just happens honestly on a daily basis. That's you're like, damn, maybe this is something we should work on, right?
yeah.
And there's obviously technical challenges whenever you're trying to do something new, like we did with the Alana magazine. Technical challenges arise, right? Because you're trying to do something that maybe no one has done before, or linking technologies that have never been linked before. So of course you run into trouble.
Yeah.
But like, to me personally, is also the super exciting part about this, because we can really reinvent how we do things. So that I find, pretty exciting. It's like an adventure.
I feel like this resonates so much, because when I joined Role Model Rebels, it seemed like a far reality to where we are today. Uh, to find people to, build stories that, matter. And at times you're like, okay, I can't do this. But then when you think about the previous issue that was released on the website, then you're like, okay, yeah, I mean, we will find more people who will believe in us. And so yeah, tell me, how do people join the Alana project? How do they get featured on the magazine? How do they join as a
Sure.
collaborator? Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of routes, but the simplest route is, I guess, going on the minus Alana minus project.xyz Linktree page, right? On there, on the second page, there is the Alana Manifesto, or the 10 Principles of a Good Community. So I encourage everyone to read that first. If you agree, and if you mint this for free, then join the Discord, right? On the Discord, I want to say on the Discord is more the operational stuff. So if you're really interested to join the project or listen in on some regular calls that we do, then this is the place to go. If you just want to, like, be part of the community, maybe participate in, like you said, the next edition of the Alana magazine, hand in your submissions for the cover to be featured, right? And soon coming up also the editorial fashion
Yeah.
submissions.
Yeah.
Then maybe the Telegram is a better location to go. But for now, I think, like, if you're really interested to join the project, then yeah, Discord or Telegram. But it's up to everyone to decide where they want to go.
I think it's a great initiative, and I'm sure there are we do have a section of people interested in fashion. So I'm sure this is going to resonate with them, or even people who want to join a community. So, we will have all the links on the website as well. Now to your second story, which we are also trying to understand. So this, Stella, I must tell you, you will have to break it down because there are a lot of terms and let's say like concepts which people might not understand. So why don't you
Okay.
unlock that for us and tell us about the unlock protocol?
Sure. So Unlock Protocol is not a platform. That's the first thing that's maybe important. So it's not, it's not Shopify. It's not, it's not Facebook, right? It's a protocol. So this means once you connect your wallet, whatever you do on there is going to be yours, and it's connected to that wallet that you connected to. So maybe that's the first thing to understand. Like, whatever
Mm.
you do is going to be yours, right?
Yeah.
You're the only one in control. No one can take this from you. So even when the website would ever shut down, you would still have access to what you have been doing through that website
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah,
blockchain.
yeah.
What you can do on Unlock Protocol is you can launch your own smart contracts. So you might have heard about this, right? For NFT, smart contracts are used
Okay.
for, like whatever you want to do with this NFT. That could be a membership, that could be a subscription, that could be a certification, that could be an event, and can be also everything else you want to do. But essentially, you as a non-coder can launch a smart contract. I think that's the
Okay.
most important thing to remember about
Yes.
Unlock Protocol.
Okay.
So
Okay.
does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah,
to me it does. But
hopefully to the others too.
hopefully, yeah. The thing is that, yes, I feel that exactly why the education of Alana is also important for people to understand these small, concepts or these actions, because I feel Web3 or technology is so action based. It is concept based, but it's action, concept to outcome. And one
Yes.
has to learn about this. It's not only about understanding the experience of the website, but also where it
Yeah,
comes from, because it's you're owning it. I was telling
exactly.
somebody today about because I've just started learning about training AI models, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like parenting, where you need to tell the child exactly what they need to know, how it goes, keep building on the information, and then hopefully after 5 or 6 years you can imagine that they'll be good on their own, but it'll be all because of your upbringing that child, that AI agent is trained. So
Yeah,
knowing what you're doing with technology is key. And yeah,
you're
and
right.
the thing is, yeah.
I tend to think of Web3 not necessarily just as a new, range of technologies. I tend to think of Web3 as like a lesson we all need to start learning, right? We want to become less dependent on bigger platforms, and centralized platforms that we don't hold any power over. Then we need to start like becoming the ones in control. And as a famous phrase said, right? Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's true, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Web3 for me is more about learning how to become like a self-responsible person. And the technologies are just like the access points to learning that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the real
Yeah.
lesson is how do we become self-responsible and stop relying on centralized entities, essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a very key point because self-reliance is also an attribute that one needs to create and hone. You can't, because in centralization, people are also used to putting the onus on somebody else. And like, let's say, that famous design philosophy is, form follows function. That function has to come. That form is yours, the function is yours.
Yes.
It can't belong to anybody else. I had one other question. So, there are many other token gated, solutions and membership models. How does Unlock really stand out, as a driving force?
I think the biggest part is that it is a protocol and not a platform, right? So by nature, it's decentralized. Uh, Essentially, the people who like do stuff on the protocol or help out the community, Unlock Protocol DAO, they are the ones who hold the power over the protocol. So if you want something to be changed in the protocol, if you're not happy with the change that has occurred, right, you can put up a proposal on blockchain level, and you can potentially make that change like revert or make a new change happen. Like,
Okay.
good luck trying that on Facebook, right? It's not going to work. So that is the true power, where people who
Yeah.
are using a technology are also in charge of potentially making that technology better, right?
Okay.
And doing
Okay.
it in a narrative that they can stand behind.
Yeah.
That is, I think, the biggest power. Other than, obviously the protocol is like, we have so many new features being added. If you want something to be added, you can just go on the Unlock Protocol GitHub. You can put up a feature request. It will be seen, it will be heard, right?
Yeah.
So just a lot of potential to like for true ownership to happen, but at the same time also to take real influence on how a technology develops. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
the biggest point,
Yeah.
I think.
And that also, I'm guessing, also drives the sustainability that, the protocol has. And
Yeah,
also in terms of, like to ensure the governance stays in place, as promoting a decentralized community.
exactly. Like every technology, of course, also Unlock Protocol has a founder, right? But essentially, the governance over the protocol is up to all of us, and we're using the UP token to do that, to enforce that governance. We recently moved to Base blockchain, so the
Okay.
entire DAO is now on Base, which is super exciting because it's a very fast-growing ecosystem with a lot of creators around that could potentially benefit from this technology. And also, if like a lot of times I get this question, right? Like, why should I put this on Unlock Protocol? XYZ is solving this for me, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, there's the
Yeah.
decentralized part, but not everyone is yet caught up on why this is important. But
Yeah.
also, if you think about, like, for example, a product sale, right? Or traceability, it means you actually, as a marketer, you will also have a lot more data that you can work with. So it's actually
Yeah.
very valuable because no one is like keeping any part of this like data that you get like a secret. Because this is your smart contract. So all the data connected to it, you can also gather and make use of it, right? So even from a marketer point of view, and not just from a creator point of view and ownership, it's very valuable.
Yes, because we don't want to mention names, but we do know companies who, use the data but don't tell us. You know?
Right.
Yeah,
There is
wink,
that.
wink, wink.
I guess you will always make a beep sound whenever I use company names, right? I'm sorry.
Um, so yeah, and yeah, exactly. So I think that there is a big factor of, how, the system goes. And can you share any example of both, let's say, Unlock and Alana, of things that you feel are going well, and also things you feel could be improved, you know?
Sure. So I'm very happy in the Alana project with our last year's progress in infrastructure and strategy. Since I'm a graduate of the Token Engineering Academy, I try to, with my colleagues, obviously, primarily Lutra and Grayscale, who I want to mention here, and Dani, we have been going through a very thorough token evaluation process because we intend to launch a token around Alana for this year. And I'm really proud of us, how we have adapted, I want to say, this process to a community, because the
It's
original
very
process
important,
is, yeah, the
absolutely
original
crucial.
process, yeah, the original process is around creating an automated market maker, right? That you would usually put into something like a decentralized exchange. So it's definitely different. And we have adapted this entire process to make it fit and work for a community. Also designing, I want to say, a semi-circular token economy with 3 different layers. I'm very proud of this work that we have accomplished. We need
Congratulations.
time,
Yeah.
but we did it, right? So I'm very proud of us. Also proud of everyone else, of course, but this is the one thing that stands out the most, I think. With Unlock Protocol, I'm super proud of all the people who have started to join us. People who I think initially had a lot of trouble with me trying to, coming in and being hyper motivated about coordination, human coordination. So I think they were like, oh my God, what is this woman trying to do here? We were fine without her, right? So I'm really proud of how they, took a step back and were like, hey, maybe this could actually be a good thing, what's happening here. I always think it's very recommendable if people try to get out of their comfort zone, look at this, and they're like, oh, okay, I might not be super happy with this, but let's try and see what comes out of it. So I'm super happy that eventually people turn around and are like, okay, let's just let her do her thing and see if this goes somewhere, right? And I think it's been going somewhere. So I'm super happy that that happened. I think what we can do better, right? This is always the juicy part. What can we do better? In Alana, I think what we can do better is we are just being more communicative to the outside world. I feel we have been stuck very much in our inside world. I think now it's time to go out and leave humbleness and introvertedness maybe behind, so that's something that I really want to focus on this year. And kind of a similar thing that counts for Unlock. I think now that we have internal structures more or less figured out, it's time to tell people and to show people what Unlock can do for them, right? Unlock is essentially free, it's open source, and it's a really cool product. So I really want more people to know about it. Doesn't mean they have to use it, right? But I'm pretty convinced if they see what it can do for them, they're actually quite excited to start using it. So I hope we can reach more people this year, because that has been something we didn't focus on as much last year, as, other things were more important from my perspective.
And that is, to let's say, imagine, to innovate, to test, iterate, and go through this process is a journey. Because if one, as let's say creators or innovators, we go into a space thinking that yes, we are, this is it, it doesn't work. But keeping that in mind also, I think one sort of structure is, important, because I've been a part of projects where founders are constantly redoing the same thing, and that's, the efficiency is not right in a lot of ways. So I think
Yeah.
that kind of focus is really important. Okay, so we are here with our last question. What keeps you motivated, inspired, and what is a message for you from you to future founders?
Yeah, so I have a few hobbies. I don't talk about it a lot
So
because
this is the right place to do it. On air.
Now, now I can finally share, right? I've been dying to share. So I kind of like rediscovered last year that I have a Quest headset, and I'm not
Oh,
really good at like, you know, regular workouts. I get very like, I don't want to call myself lazy, but I think I get very lazy about those. And so I was like, damn, I can do workouts with Beat Saber if I do them on, you know, like high
yeah,
enough
yeah,
levels,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
It makes you sweat
yeah, yeah,
like a
yeah,
lot. And so that's definitely something like, especially if I feel frustrated, if I need to let out some steam, like, you know, every human has that.
yeah,
I'm no saint
yeah,
either. So Beat Saber is definitely something like a go-to. I also really enjoy computer games in general. So, you know, playing Starfield, Horizon Zero Dawn, like all everything that has to do with action adventure, like really takes my mind off of things. I have two cute little dogs, and something that I think I have not shared anywhere before is that I have actually, like right next to my office, there is a place where I paint. I just paint. No one knows that I paint, but now people know that I paint. So,
and they would
and
also like to see it.
yeah, no, definitely not. That's the whole like idea around this, right? So it doesn't become a part of work. This is why I
Yeah,
don't publish this,
yeah,
because it's not supposed to be that. And as a creative, as soon as you put out something other creative, it becomes work. It's
yeah.
just, you know, it's just how it goes. So yeah, not doing it, but now you know. Um, and so about the advice part, I guess like really I can only give like true advice to people who probably are like me, because if you want to build something that you potentially can sell in a few months, right, then the approach must be a different one. But if you're like me and you want to build something with purpose, that potentially outlives you, that's, you know, that has always been the goal once I started to turn Alana into a project. Then I think it's really, you have to stay strong, right? Like there is a lot of up and downs. You will hit a lot of walls. But with every wall that you overcome, you're going to learn a lot. It feels like life lessons learned, if that makes any sense.
Yes, I
And
completely
yeah,
agree to it.
yeah. And the other thing is avoid dependencies. If you want to build something that has purpose, it's better to start a side hustle to make a living and keep this building on the side than accept, for example, VC capital, right? If you get into a boat with VC capital, I know it's super tempting for a lot of founders, right? It often just results in your purpose getting thrown out of the window because your purpose might not align with financial goals that need to be hit. So dependencies are going to kill you. So avoid dependencies, right? It's very important, I think. And yeah, don't listen to just everyone. Listen to the people who you know have your best, like, you know, your best intentions at heart, right? If you listen to the wrong people, you might end up in a ditch that is really hard to come out
Yeah,
of.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's maybe another one. But yeah, again, right? Not meant for people who want to build driven by financial goals, then obviously approach needs to be very different.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Thank you so much, Stella, for this amazing, amazing, very, very thoughtful conversation. How do people reach you? And how do they let's say get to the Alana or the Unlock protocol?
Sure, it's all pretty easy. Yeah, I'm with my handle, like exactly the same handle on every platform, so you can find me everywhere with Stella Achenbach. Full name, totally written together, a nightmare to write, I'm aware, but it's very unique, so it's easy to find. And so you can find me like this on every platform, every major platform, Instagram, LinkedIn, you know the drill. And same goes for the Alana project. So if you Google the Alana project, you will find stuff very, very easily. And the same counts for Unlock Protocol. So join us, open up a conversation. Yeah, if you're timid, you can also just reach out to me. No harm in that. And yeah, let's talk what we can do together in any capacity.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.